Do you guys want to take a look at this Jimmy Dore clip?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's cue that up.
Let's watch some comedy because comedy has affected this election a lot. We'll see if this stand-up comedian has as much sway.
Yeah, well, it's funny because we actually just talked about Joe Rogan and Tony Hinchcliffe. Obviously, Joe Rogan got pretty embarrassed recently when he recommended Tony Hinchcliffe to Donald Trump. Donald Trump took his advice and then immediately regretted it.
But I think he also said that Jimmy Dore should have done it instead.
Yes, that's what I'm getting into. He said, who should have done this gig for Donald Trump is Jimmy Dore, our good friend Jimmy Dore. The right-wing comic, the anti-vax comic. Let's take a look at some of his recent comedy. I guess Rumble, where he works, he has a contract with Rumble. I guess Rumble has given him a live show, and Jimmy's idea was to make it in the style of Bill Maher's live show. But instead it's called Rumble Time instead of Real Time. And it's basically just a glorified version of the live Jimmy Dore show that he already does, and somehow seemingly even cringier. I'm not really sure how, but somehow even worse.
Imagine Real Time with no weed
and humor. like guys, we always joke that Bill Maher is not funny. Wait until you see this level of humor, guys. This is absolute craziness. Like, you wouldn't see this at an open
laugh.
At Joe's Crab Shack, I swear to God. Anyway,
because it's too good and you have to pay for it.
Hey, come see us on tour. We're going to be in Los Angeles, Columbus, Ohio, Dayton, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Lexington, Kentucky, Burbank, California, and Honolulu. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Speaking of Tim Walz, Tim Walz said this today. Did you hear that? He said this today.
If you're a billionaire, Elon Musk, for example, say, that guy got it.
Oh, God.
He just called Elon Musk a gay guy. I don't know if you heard that.
If you're a billionaire, Elon Musk, for example, say, that guy got it. Michigan knows that word. Look, that dude got a tax cut.
The only thing that would make that funnier is if it was Lindsey Graham calling him gay.
What's so funny about this, guys, is it's not the audience that you're hearing laughing. It's the peanut gallery that Jimmy Dore pays to come along with him. That was Kurt Metzger in the background giving the most phony cackle I've ever heard in my entire life.
Is that the wildest thing?
Oh,
is
yeah.
Is that called a Freudian slip?
Wait, Jimmy, what is so gay about a man who takes his teen students to Melissa Etheridge concerts? I guess you think there's something gay about that.
I think the Kamala Harris campaign is just relieved he didn't say faggot.
Watch as those rocket launches go up and come down and get grabbed again.
We need to be a bundle of sticks, stronger together.
You know what this reminds me of, guys? It reminds me of the episode of The Office where Michael Scott does his improv comedy class, right? And Michael can only make it so long without bringing up a gun, right? Jimmy can only go so long without bringing up the phallus, right? It's a very
Yeah, this is like a competition to see who's the least funny on stage. Like, this should be an episode of Kill Tony. You said he roasts terrible comedians. Let's get these guys on Kill Tony and have, as much shit as people were giving Tony Hinchcliffe, like, unironically, he's obviously way funnier than any of these people, right?
Yeah, this is like if Kill Tony met the Golden Girls in terms of the age up difference here, but it looks like they're having fun.
Like I said, even with the Tony Hinchcliffe thing, like the Puerto Rico joke, it basically just amounted to like shock humor. But at least it actually was kind of shocking enough to actually get a reaction out of people. And this is like, oh, I said the F slur, and now I'm supposed to laugh. Like, okay, like again, now I'm defending Tony Hinchcliffe, who I just said was incapable of making an edgy joke actually funny, but somehow it does look, comedic in comparison. But let's take a look at the rest of this.
So I thought that was...
Can I tell you just a fun fact about him? So he's supposedly a teacher, whatever.
Football coach.
Waltz. And he was the teacher, club leader of the Gay Straight Alliance at school.
So bisexuals.
So I was thinking like gay straight alliance, like, you know, he's thought he's gonna like take care of the kids, right? And I guess he just got used to saying gay, right? That's the only thing I can come up with.
That's it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, do you not know his wedding night with his wife? First of all, he had to resign from the school. Well, he resigned. Maybe he didn't have to, but do teachers get fired? He resigned, and his wife had to resign at the same time.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, these are the facts of the case, not anything speculative. He went on like 15 trips with students to China. On his wedding night, they went on a trip to China, and him and his wife stayed in separate rooms because there were an odd number of students. Oh.
I pause right here. So I don't know. Have you guys been tracking the Tim Walz gets laid in China story? 'Cause, like we've talked on the show a lot about how they like keep on trying to find an attack, whether it's like he like is not like the right coach or whatever, or like they've done like fake AI bullshit. But like nothing's like ever really landed in terms of an attack. And I guess now the attack is that he hooked up with like the daughter of like a Chinese mogul when he like visited China. And it's like, oh, actually like Tim Walz gets pussy in overseas. And that's
Is there any proof of
the
that?
dark truth. I actually think it's real. But now they're saying that like he like is like estranged or like away from his wife. It's just like, listen, what even if it's true, which I don't think any of it's true about like Walz and his wife, like, you know, what works. I say let him go to China as often as he wants.
That's so you think there's actual evidence to support this? It's not just a total conspiracy theory?
He definitely took trips to China and apparently had a relationship with a woman. I think it was like before he was married, like plenty before he was married or whatever. Like that's
And who fucking cares?
Well, that's why it's like I love what they come up with. They're like, this is gonna be the one that sinks him.
Most people had relationships before they got married.
Maybe this means that he's a Chinese spy. It was sort of like an early honeypot, you know?
Yeah, no, that's totally insane.
But yeah, so it's not working.
That's how straight people do, right? On their wedding night, they take a bunch of kids to China and stay in separate rooms. That's what your football coach did, right?
He's a football coach that's running the Gay Alliance. That is straight up the show Glee. Isn't that Glee? Holy shit.
Nobody in the audience is laughing at all. That's what I think is the most hysterical part of that video, guys. Everybody that's laughing is on stage. Nobody that's laughing paid money to be there. They're all in the background being like, why am I watching this guy's green room session?
You might actually be interested in this service, though, Zach.
I'm excited to tell you about this new app. It's called Kalshi. It's the first legal exchange where you can trade or bet on any event.
Yes.
Kalshi just got approval to list markets to trade on the outcome of the election.
Zach?
No kidding. Making it the first legal place to trade on the election in 100 years. Kalshi has markets on who will win the presidential election, who will control the House and Senate, who will win swing states, and more. Right now, Trump and Kamala are traded.
This is like half the video, by the way. This is a pretty short clip. It was like 3 minutes of quote unquote comedy and then like another 2.5 minutes of him reading an ad for this fucking stupid like predicted ripoff.
Which is crazy because if you guys watched Jimmy Dore back in the day, even when I first started watching him, he would constantly lampoon people who did ad reads. He mocked Glenn Greenwald a little bit. He like friendly like ribbed him when he was on the show back in the day because he was like, you work for The Intercept. That's Piero Midyar. That's billionaire money. Why not just work for the people? Why not just work for the people? They'll fund you. If they'll fund me, they'll fund you. Right. And now he's realized, well, actually, the people aren't funding me so much anymore. I need to hawk this stupid shit. And while I actually am a fan of the expanded right to reap the benefits of
you're pro
right
gambling.
Oh, I'm so pro gambling. I'm so hard pro gambling. I made my I had guys, for anybody who's listening, I had an Empire Poker and a Poker Stars account back before George Bush banned that shit. What is it? Outlawed that shit.
When you were like in 5th grade?
Oh, dude, no, before I was in 5th grade. I had the Z Card Man account when I was like maybe 5 or 6 years old. I was learning how to play cards. Oh, fuck yeah, dude. I come from a long line of degenerates. My grandpa was really into MSM, Instant Messenger, so we would play cards together, play chess. You know, I got my foot in a cast for like 6 weeks when I was a 1st grader, and I got really into playing cards.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm trying to protect my bros. I'm trying to start the anti-gambling movement. You know. I think my bros are vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, rock bottom for the Jimmy Dore show. Am I right? Like,
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
it can just. I mean, again, we react to some pretty indefensible comedy on the show. You know, the Tony Hinchcliffe, the Jim Brewer guy. But at least it feels like those people are trying. Like, again, even with the cringiest right wing comedy, Jim Brewer, at least he puts his back into it. At least he hops around on the stage like a fucking dork and embarrasses himself. Like, what is this? Who would show up to this? Who would watch this? There was nothing insightful about it. There was nothing challenging about it. It
Humorous.
was not like a presentation of some new witty thought that I haven't really thought of before. Like, that's what comedy is supposed to be. This is just like regurgitating brain dead right wing talking points from like Facebook.
You ask Gavin, who's watching this crap? The answer is not very many people. Let's take a look here. Actually, I'm gonna go a little bit bigger screen on this guy just so you guys can take a look. I'll move Griffin down so it's
Jimmy Dore needs a COVID too. He needs COVID.
Dude, he needs a COVID too bad. Like this is not good numbers for a million sub channel, guys. I mean, 12K in 3 hours. Let's say what's a day old? 58K. 51K, 78K, 70K, 70K. Like, this is bad, especially when you've already gone full on. I'm going down the right wing rabbit hole. I'm going to try and poach the craziest at the bottom of the because there's no coming back from that, right? There's no, oh, I want to go and do these numbers, but for rational people, again, that's gone for good for Jimmy. And now he can no longer even compete at the bottom of the cesspool. Humiliating stuff. Even when he says like Jon Stewart defends Puerto Rico joke and like Bernie confronted for selling out, which would be like bread and butter for him. It's like 93K views and it's only a 6-minute video, which means it's not generating any ad revenue for him. And I guarantee you that Rumble is going to start to get pissed that nobody's watching this very expensive high production value show he's demanding they do with him.
Well, no one's watching any of the shows on Rumble unless you're assaulting alleged pedophile in Walmart. That's like the main things that are happening on Rumble. So yeah, I don't think any of the views are real on Rumble. Maybe like 500 of them.